It's actually kind of funny. You would think that when you spend the entire day having real, meaningful conversations with people, that when you go back home to do a workout commentary, you'd be so full of ideas that it would be easy to pick one. The problem is that there's just too many things to talk about, and so I guess I'll just talk about the experience. I had the honor and the good fortune this weekend to be able to drive down to Lynnwood, Washington, and train with my buddy Izzy Navarez from Powerlifting to Win, as well as Shaq and the rest of the crew down there. It was an awesome experience. It was a great training environment. It was a great social environment. Most of you know that I spend most of my time in the garage training solo now, and I haven't had much social training experience since I started doing that, since I left the rec center. And it's been kind of a shift in my own personal training, and it's been something that I feel like over the long run has really helped me to bring up my own level. Something Izzy and I talked about is, as fun as it is to have training partners, having other people there is a variable, and it's a variable that you can't control. You can't control whether or not your training partner is having a good or a bad day. You can't control whether they're on time or not, or whatever's going on. But I must say that it was just a lot of fun going down there and hanging out with these guys. All of them have incredible work ethics and are just so committed to this improvement, and that's awesome for me. It's so much fun to be around that and to see other people that are sharing that approach towards lifting. Definitely I knew already that Izzy and I had a lot of similar mentalities. It was nice to see that reinforced through the conversations we had, and Shaquille as well. We definitely, after this workout, which I think we were in the gym for about 6 hours while some other people came and went, and we had a good time. Kelso's the guy who you saw with the green shoes with benching, and then later you'll see some of his conventional pulls. But Izzy's really into the idea of mastery, and while I think the public perception of our goals may seem a little different, Izzy runs a channel called Powerlifting to Win, which people would almost say is fundamentally against what my kind of principles of lifting are, with kind of the honorable purity of the self, doing it for you and not so much with the competition in mind. But I think we both agree more than perhaps either of us realize, than maybe a lot of other people realize, where the competition is less important in terms of beating someone else and more important in terms of being the standard that you are comparing your own progress to. It's something that you can test the work that you put into, and without something to work towards, there really is no context to measure your own improvement. It's based off of arbitrary standards that you're setting yourself, whereas a competition setting allows you to work off of someone else's arbitrary standards, but at least they're agreed upon by enough people that you can make it comparative to past progress and past results. As strange as that is to say, now that I'm vocalizing it again, if it makes sense to you, then good, and if it doesn't, try it again. Eventually it might. So on this day, I ended up hitting a variant of all three lifts. The guys came in, they all did overload benching, and then they had conventional deadlifts on their program. I had my pause squats, my overload benching, and normally on Sundays I would do my pause deads, but when they moved over to the conventional pulls, they were using a stiff bar anyway, and I said, well, that's pretty much what I was going to do. So I decided to go ahead and get my pulls in, and I started out with 545 triple on my pause squats. Felt very smooth. I was very surprised, especially after the 2.5 hour drive to the gym. My overload benching didn't go as well. I missed a 455, which you did not see. I just totally biffed it. And then I missed a 450 much closer, probably about another inch, and I think I would have had it. Both the guys, Kelso was having some tricep pain, but both Izzy and Shaq both hit some pretty awesome AMRAPs on their slingshot benching, and then moved over to the conventional pulls, and everybody was, they did a 5x5, and on their fifth set they were all doing AMRAPs. So I trolled Izzy a little bit because He had 335 on there, and I told him on his last set, because he kept making his sets of 5 look so quick and easy, that he should put at least another 10 pounds on there. He said, well, maybe next week. And then he said he was going to cut off his AMRAP at 10 reps. And his reasoning for that was that, once you get past 10, you might as well just do 20, which, yeah, you crazy kid. I think Kelso was up, and I think he just wanted to beat Izzy really bad. So he came out and pulled 13. Definitely just so much energy in this place, and it was crazy to be around that, where I'm definitely much more of a stoic lifter. I used to have different levels of energy in it. Here's Shaquille with his 395 AMRAP set after his 4 other sets of 5. He was trolling us a little bit. I think that we all kind of thought he was slowing down a little bit towards the end, and he decided to pause his 10th rep because I think he was giving me a hard time for doing all my pause work in between these. It definitely was less fun having to change all these weights, but it's worth it. Just this environment was awesome, and it was cool to, like, I keep coming back to it, and I don't even care if it's redundant that I keep saying it. It was a lot of fun to work out with these guys and have such a positive atmosphere and just the energy. And just the music and everything's off for mine, just because I have a tendency to get a little overstimulated with all that external everything else going on, and I'm a very internal lifter most of the time until I hit a big PR or something that I wasn't expecting, and that's usually when there's some sort of emotional outburst that I never plan ahead of time, and it just kind of shows up. There's a 640 top set triple, and right there I just that was definitely less fun doing pause deads in the same workout that you do your pause squats and overload benching, where you miss at least 2 benches. It was just not great. But I was happy on the day with my lifting for the most part, and it was awesome, once again, to get a chance to hang out with those guys. We had some great talks afterwards. Shaq, Izzy, and I went to Olive Garden, and we were a couple of douche waffles that forgot what time it was, or maybe I did, and the other two were just humoring me with our conversation. But we stayed until they were closing around us, and we were the last ones out of the restaurant, like 20 minutes after they closed. They didn't seem to mind. They were very polite, so thank you, Linwood Olive Garden. Y'all are okay in our book. But that was a great time. I look forward to going and training with them again. Definitely invite them to come and visit me at the garage sometime. A little less room to get as hyped, but that energy just follows them around. So other than that, I'll be back to my regular training on Tuesday, and if you have a chance to go check out Izzy's channel, either the Powerlifting to Win channel, which has some really solid powerlifting information, I told him that, and I do believe it. I honestly love a lot of his content. It's very informative, and even if it's something you feel like you have a good understanding on, one of Izzy's greatest gifts is his ability to take something, a concept, and break it down and make it easily digestible and understandable to a lot of different people. It's something he's really gifted with, and it's something he's passionate about, and that Powerlifting the Win channel is a very awesome resource for someone who really wants to get a very well-defined idea of some solid powerlifting concepts that you can take or leave and use as much as you can. I'm always a huge proponent of, whenever you're passionate about something, learn as much as you can about it and look for as many different sources of information, and Izzy is definitely a very large source of information for a lot of the things that a lot of us are passionate about. So thank you guys a lot, and enjoy the outro clip, and I have a little something extra for you at the end that kind of made me chuckle, and it might make you guys chuckle as well. So wherever you're at and whatever you're doing, I hope it's happy, and I hope you're feeling good. Have a great night. Bye.